Hey, how are we doing, guys? Gray here, and today we are back for week 4, I believe, of the PAC or PAC. We're going up against the commissioner himself, Sven, and his Uppsala Umbrions, maybe? No, it's a new team name. It's Gothenburg Sphealers. He's a very, very good player. Make sure you go check him out. His link in the description below, as well as all the other coaches for PAC this season. And if you enjoyed the content, then please leave a like, subscribe. We are back now. I've been ill forever, and now we are, back. Hopefully full time. If you can't tell, I'm still feeling a bit of illness. You can still hear it in my voice, but I'm at least able to record. So yeah, we'll have plenty more content coming. Let's go ahead and get into this battle. And you're going to see that we have the Cinderace, the Clawitzer, Spathra, Lilligant, Palisand, and Haxorus, some new team members this week, I believe. The trades went into effect this week. We picked up a few new mons, dropped a few, just to try and balance out the team a little bit. Our Steel type didn't exist. Now we've got a Copperaja in the back. And yeah, we just picked up some nice pieces that I felt were perhaps a little bit more fairly priced, because a lot of things in this league were overpriced. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to lead off with our Cinderace, as they lead off with the Crocodile. So in case the thing is scarfed, I don't want to stay in and take a Earthquake. I certainly will not be able to take that hit. So I'm just going to go out into Palisand. That is my dedicated switch into this. It's Coldberry in case he goes for the Crunch. And if it's not scarfed and goes for like Stealth Rock, then we're in a pretty good spot. He is going to go for the Earthquake, and this looks like it might actually be a 3-hit KO. It's definitely in the realms of that kind of area. I can't do the maths in my head that quickly. And I'm just going to click Chilling Water. I want to make sure that if he isn't scarfed and goes for the Crunch, that his next Crunch would do a lot less, and we should be able to 1v1 it fairly effectively. But instead he goes out into the Swordsbuck. So the Chilling Water not necessarily useless, because it is going to firstly get a big crit that just does so much damage, and we are going to get the attack full, so it means I can switch into something else much more freely. Albeit Swordsbuck not the biggest threat on his team, it still is nice to have that attack drop on a potential Horn Leech coming in. So we're going to go out into our Cinderace, because I want to keep up offensive momentum. I didn't expect him to go for like a double edge or anything like that. Maybe he went for a Trailblaze, but I thought Horn Leech was the most likely move, and we are going to see the Horn Leech come out. There's very little damage, and it actually shows that it is going to be Life Orb, which honestly just kind of shows you how bad Swordsbuck is. Granted, it's a -1, but even then, like, I did no damage. And this should be a free Pyro Ball or a U-turn should I decide to do that, expecting the Torkoal to come in. One thing to say about this set is I actually changed it quite late on after a mock with Addison. She said that Electro Ball was stupid and that I shouldn't bring it. And now the Torkoal is coming in on it, and I wish I had Electro Ball, because it would have actually done half to this. Gonna go for a U-turn. And go into Clawitzer to immediately put on the offensive pressure, as we're actually going to see this thing is going to be leftovers, which is very interesting. Definitely didn't expect me to set up rocks, albeit I do have the rocks. Just got to find a time now to set that up, because it will certainly help out my Cinderace in the late game. And honestly, I don't know why I don't go for a Water Pulse here. I think it's because I think the Swordsbuck has a good chance of coming in. It's the only water resist on his team, and yeah, nothing else really wants to take that hit particularly, so I go for an Aura Sphere, predicting the Swordsbuck. If I can get some damage off on that, that'd be very nice. In hindsight, actually watching this back, I had switch-ins to Swordsbuck, and clicking Water Pulse would have covered everything else that came in outside the Swordsbuck, and it wouldn't matter too much if the Swordsbuck came in itself. Instead, we actually see the Slitherwing come in, and yeah, this Aura Sphere, unfortunately, in this situation, this very specific situation that I put myself in, the Aura Sphere is going to do very little. So Water Pulse looks like it probably would have done over half if I had to take a guess, and I could have just stayed in and clicked it again, because there was no one move I think that could knock out my Clawitzer. So instead we're going to go out into our Palisand, hoping that we just don't get 2-hit KO'd by whatever he goes for. Sadly, he does have the Trailblaze, and I think that was the only thing that really could 2-hit KO me. And the dream of getting rocks up has now long since died. I think I'd maybe click Stealth Rock here, just in case that he decides to bulk up or something, and then maybe I can just take advantage of it. But honestly, this Trailblazing Slivwing is causing me some issues, so I think it could be a bit problematic. So in the end I decided just let Palisand go down. As much as it was actually pretty good in this matchup, one of the things that was meant to check was this Slivwing, and it's very clearly not going to be able to check that at 59 HP. So Palisand goes down, and I'm looking at my options. I've already got one option really to try and revenge kill this thing. I don't know how much Trailblaze is going to do to Clawitzer, but I don't want to take that hit because it is my Chi Yu check, and I decided that Spathro is really all I've got, and it will force a Terror should he be Terror. I just want to protect his Scout, see what he wants to do. So I'm going to go for Protect, as he actually goes for his Terrestrialization, and he's going to Terror Blast into my Protect. And this is around the point in which I realised that I may or may not potentially have messed up when building, because I was going back and forth between going Terror Ghost and Terror Fighting, and I opted in the end to go to Terror Fighting. However, as you can see on the screen, I actually Terror Ghost, and because he's Terror Steeled, I'm now in a position where I can't really switch out. I can't do anything other than hope that he goes for like a Leech Life here, and we're able to Terror Ghost, resist the hit, and go for a Lumina Crash into Shadow Ball. But it's not a good position to put myself in. I really wanted to Terror Litigant after I saw that this was Terror Ghost, but there's not a lot I can do. This mon in front of me is the biggest threat to me at this current point, so I'm just going to go for the Terror Ghost so it can resist the or both stabs. Hopefully we can make this thing switch out, because at +2 speed it's a big threat. At 0 speed it's not such a big threat. It's actually quite easy to deal with, and also he's got the booster energy, so if we can force the switch, that will also help a great deal in fact. So we get a Lumina Crash off as we take a massive chunk from the Terror Blast, and click Shadow Ball. I could have clicked Terror Blast there, to be fair. Like, it honestly didn't make any difference, but at least Shadow Ball has the ability to drop someone Spadef. So whatever wants to come into this, I mean, if he switches just hard out into Swordsbuck, that'd be a great play. But I never expected the Swordsbuck to just come hard in on this. So he is actually going to switch out, and that means his booster energy is gone, the +2 speed is gone. That thing's much less of a threat for me to have to deal with. And he goes out into the Mimikyu, and Mimikyu can revenge me with the Shadow Sneak. But the Shadow Ball is going to break his disguise, which is fantastic. That's one less thing for me to have to worry about. This was like an SD set, then it was always going to be causing me some issues. But it now puts me back in a situation where do I switch out on a potential Swords Dance and possibly lose him on. In hindsight, going into Cinderace directly here was always the play, because if he goes for Shadow Sneak, it's not going to do too much damage to me. I can just go for a Pyro Ball, knock this out. If he goes into his Torkoal, I can U-turn out into my Clawitzer, and again, he just doesn't have a good switch in to Clawitzer here, so I could have clicked a button. But instead, for some reason, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to risk him clicking Shadow Sneak and knocking me out. My Spathra goes down, my Terror goes down. Not a great thing at all. It's done a tiny bit of chip to the Slitherwing, and it's done no actual damage to the Mimikyu. It's just broken its disguise. So we're going to go into Cinderace and click Pyro Ball. Like I said, should have been the thing we did before when this came out in the first place, but you know, we're now down an extra mon that was actually very helpful in this game, albeit less helpful because of its Terror typing, but still would be nice to have around. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and click Pyro Ball, just straight up one-shots Mimikyu, which is wild, because Mimikyu is actually at least relatively bulky. It's not like a Thrail mon. I think a lot of people think it is, but it's not that frail. And in comes Torkoal. This thing is proving very, very difficult for me to break down. I'm going to just click U-turn, but again, this is a situation where maybe I could have bluffed that I was choiced and not clicked U-turn, just hard switched out into Clawitzer. U-turn I know is going to do like very little damage, and I could have just gone harder Clawitzer and preserved like the not knowing what the item is on this. But yeah, I'm going to U-turn, do that tiny bit of chip that leftovers is just going to recover. Actually, I go out into Haxorus. I thought I went into Clawitzer, but no. Apparently I went into Haxorus. I think I saw this as my opportunity to try and set up. I'm not sure about that one. Yeah, not sure about that at all. Again, I should have had an eye on the endgame. and clicking Earthquake here was incredibly free. I don't think setting up actually gave me anything, because I pretty much one-shot his entire team at this point outside of this Torkoal. So I click SD. Honestly, Earthquake would have been a much better play here. Getting that damage off, probably did like at least half to this Torkoal if it stays in. It would also hit everything that came in, barring the Swordsbuck. But into close combat would then knock it out. So yeah, click the Swords Dance and he stays in and goes for a body press, which means that even with my investment, I'm very SPDF on this. I'm not able to live a Dark Pulse from Chi-Yu. I think it might be a roll at this point, but a roll that's heavily not in my favour. He's going to withdraw the Torkoal, annoyingly not going to let me get that damage off on him. We see that Earthquake into close combat would definitely have done enough to this. And we're going to knock out the Swordsbuck, so we're going to trade basically our Haxorus for a Swordsbuck. If you can't tell, the trades here are not necessarily good ones. So out comes the demon itself, Chi-Yu. I have no choice really, I don't have a switch in at this point. I could try and switch into my Clawitzer. That's not going to go very well. I am in fact going to just get 2-shot after rocks. So I've got to go ahead and click Earthquake and hope that maybe he tries to get a bit creative and goes for like a nasty plot for no reason in front of a +2 Haxorus, but Sven's not that stupid. He just goes for a Dark Horse. He does take me out, and I believe it's what, 3-on-3 or no 3-on-4. English is hard, counting is hard. It's all very difficult nowadays. But we're going to go into our Clawitzer, and we are just going to click Water Pulse. I don't believe that Water Pulse is an Oko if he has any investment, which he might. Well, actually, no, probably doesn't have too much investment. I don't think Water Pulse is an Oko in general, because Chi-Yu does have very good SPDF. Yeah, we're not going to get flinched, which is fantastic. You love to see it, and it does put it in Aquajet range. However, for some unknown reason, I can't tell you why, I decided to not click Aquajet and preserve my HP. Instead, I just go for another Water Pulse and put myself in like range of everything. So now Crook gets to come back in, and it's pretty free to do what it wants. I don't have a switch into this now. I need to revenge kill this with Lilligant instead. I don't know if having health on this would have mattered too much. I could do a calc, a quick calc now and see whether or not the crunch would have knocked me out from 92 HP or not, but I don't think that it was going to be a particularly great situation. In fact, it may have just let the Sliverwing back in, which would have been arguably worse. So, I don't know, it kind of worked out for me. However, from the calcs here, Cinderace I don't believe lives a crunch. Lilligant does live a crunch, but is going to live just barely. And it's certainly not going to be able to Quiver Dance, because assuming this thing is going to be jolly, like enough speed to outspeed the Lilligant, I can't even Quiver. So Lilligant comes in. Just going to click Energy Ball because there's nothing else I can do at this point. I need to get rid of this threat, and if he goes out into his Sliverwing, then Sliverwing just kind of cleans up from here, but he does decide to let me have this Crook, so I do appreciate. I guess he probably didn't want me to click Quiver Dance and maybe get something going with this. I don't know what I could have had necessarily. No, this thing doesn't get any coverage. It just straight up doesn't get coverage. So Terra Blast is its coverage. We're going to go ahead and just take out the Crook. In comes the Sliverwing, and it's all down to whether or not Cinderace, with a bulk up, is able to do enough damage with low kick to the Torkoal to be able to take it out. And considering it's lefties, I very much doubt it. And that's assuming that he doesn't go for a Trailblaze here. I go for a Quiver Dance in case I'm quicker and he does go for the Trailblaze, and that would then give me the most amount of damage possible on this. But he is just going to close combat. He is quicker than me, which is good to know that he's probably not that bulky if he is quicker than my Lilligant. So in comes Cinderace. It's a 1v2, and one that's probably not very favourable for it. If I miss here, then I just lose anyway. So we've got to hit this Pyro Ball, and we do. Down goes the Sliverwing, and it's a 1v1 now. Cinderace versus Torkoal. And this is where the moral of the story is. Don't listen to Addison. She has bad ideas. Except for when she has fantastic ideas that win you games. Because Electro Ball, with that tiny little bit of chip there, would have made the roll for Electro Ball in my favor 100% of the time, even with lefties. It would have been in my favor. It's not a guaranteed kill. It would have been in my favor. Electro Ball would have done enough. Instead, we bulk up and hope that its only attacking move is going to be body press. Like, there's a strong chance that he's going to click body press here. No reason to not. It's not going to do too much. So if he doesn't have another attacking move, we can actually bulk up. I think it probably is going to need 3 and hope that we can continue to take those hits, because that one did about 50 damage. There's no chances there. So I'll go for a second bulk up and hope that 2 low kicks are able to take it out. If it has another attacking move, then we just lose anyway. And it does reveal the lava plume, and that is going to pretty much be game. Doesn't get a burn, which is quite nice. So, at least I can see whether or not low kick would have done enough. We can all see here, low kick did not do enough. Yeah, it wouldn't 2-hit KO'd regardless. So good game to Sven. We are going to lose this one 1-0, move to 3-1. I'm not sure how I feel about these trades at the moment, but we'll see how future games go. This one was right at the start of me being ill, and like I say, I've had about 3 weeks, at least 3 weeks in fact, maybe the entire month of being ill. So it's just been back to back to back to back, and I'm a little bit done with it. I want to get back to normal life, but here we are. But yeah, enough of that. Good game to Sven. Make sure to go check him out. His link will be down in the description below. Unfortunately, we are going to lose that game, but it really came down to some bad prep, especially on like the Espathra. The Espathra was Terra Steel. At least we may be able to Terra Steel, Terra Fighting. Then we may have been able to do something there, but at the same time, we were being super low from Terra Blast no matter what. And yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll wrap this one up because I will ramble on forever. But like you've enjoyed the battle, subscribe so you don't miss out on what will be plenty of content now, because I've got so many games to catch up on. Until the next one, have a great day, guys. Peace.